Hey, hi there. So, this is the first video of this channel, and this is quite something about the communication. Communication is what we think is very important for all of us, and which is what we are missing a lot, right? But communication through technology has advanced a lot. We are spending a lot of time over our computers, over digital networks, thinking how to communicate while this pandemic has actually taught us how to communicate and spend more quality time with our families. Am I right? So, while we are spending so much of quality time with our families, I was thinking about our astronauts who are way more helpful, and I consider them as the very core people on the earth that is helping us to improve our technology, next to our engineers, the technology engineers and the scientists. They are the one who are actually grasping a lot of things far away from the family, learning a lot about the earth and lot about the communications technologies. But have we ever thought how astronauts spend time with their families? I was getting into a quite a small research about this. Very few, it can be a very basic research about this. Because I was very curious to know how the astronauts actually spend time with their families. We chat, we email, we make calls. So when I was thinking, do they chat? Do they email? Do they make calls? Here is a short history that I came across, how it all started for them on communication in space. It started way back in 2001 when it was the first time, actually, when the International Space Station launched a VoIP capability that could be tied down through a Ku band communication system. It is actually a Ku band, which is something like dial phone, dial up modem, like we use for the internet, very old system, yeah. That is how they started way back in 2001. According to a 2009 NASA feature, astronauts had no internet access aboard space shuttles except to send an email, which is the NASA zoned email within their own network, or some approved set of contacts which they have to get within. When they get into the space, they should have a list of people to whom they can send emails, maybe some security protocols that they have to follow, and they used to send messages or emails to them. And they can also do some limited video conferencing with them through the internet protocol telephones. Before 2010, astronauts would email the ground support personnel and arrange for tweets to be sent to them. Actually, the first tweet was during the year 2009, when the tweet was via a ThinkPad laptop that displays a virtual desktop that is actually housed on a desktop server in the Mission Control Center in Houston. Say, for example, when they are moving the cursor on the laptop, they are essentially moving the cursor on the desktop computer, which is like a remote accessing of your computer desktop that is situated somewhere. From the space, they will be accessing the remote computer at Houston, and they will be using that particular internet center or the data over there. They will be opening the internet whenever they get the connection. They will be sending tweets or messages from there. That is how they had the remote access to the computer in Houston from the International Space Station. So when an astronaut sends a tweet, he or she is actually sending that tweet from Houston, you know. However, internet connectivity in space is structured around a network of tracking and data relayed satellites, the same fleet of communication satellites that NASA engineers on the ground use to communicate with astronauts on the International Space Station. You got it? Yeah. And it's not like there is any shortage of technology aboard. They have a laptop computer, including their personal sleeping quarters, which they can use for limited web access, emails, tweeting, and static news pages, which they actually get to know what's actually happening on Earth. But all these connections and internet speed for them is very slow. Accessing any internet page through a remote desktop, even on Earth, from one server sitting somewhere in another continent to another server in another continent, that particular internet speed itself sucks. Think about the internet connection that they have to actually use from the space station to the Earth, 22,000 miles very far away, and that too whenever you are getting an internet connection and talk to your family. That's a lot of patience that you should be getting. However, they have their own time, to send emails or to make phone calls. They are not restricted in the space. That's what I have known through this small reading about the astronauts spending time with their families. So all these internet connection is slow because when an astronaut clicks a link on a website in the space, the request first travels 22,000 miles away from the Earth to a network of geosynchronous satellites far behind the relatively close station. The satellites then send the signal down to a receiver on the ground below, which processes the request before returning the response along the same path. All the students who are in information and technology will be able to relate to this, and all the experts already know about it. But this piece of information is for the kids around there who actually wanted or more curious to know about the science and technology and the astronauts and the space station. Lot of interesting things they would be liking to know, and I felt this piece of information as interesting. The astronauts can talk to anyone on the Earth actually nowadays. The astronauts can chat via emails with their families. They even tweet from ISS after the first tweet during the year 2009 was sent. They have actually got an official Twitter account as well. They have the IP phone which works functionally through the computer. So they also do video conferencing with their families, and they even communicate on a daily basis. However, that communication differs with what we all do via FaceTime and the WhatsApp or any other communication technology that we are actually using on Earth, but that FaceTime literally differs. So it's quite interesting to know about the astronauts and their habits on space. I think, however, they will be very busy doing their own schedule of work amidst the time they get for their families. Still, it is interesting. Thank you for watching the video. We will meet soon. Goodbye.